And thank goodness we have DeMar DeRozan on our show because we are now joined by the four-time All-Star Bulls guard. Welcome to NBA Today, DeMar.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you, but we need to start with some of the magic that we just saw because you hit 2 game winners in back-to-back games. And by the way, it's not like those games were tied. You were trailing in both games. So be honest. Do you have a favorite?
Probably the second one for it being the next night, for sure. I think the second one. It was tough. Kuz had just hit a big 3 before that. So for us to pull that one out, it was crazy being on a back-to-back night.
I don't think I could have kept a calm face like that. I think both of my hands would have been in the air. I would have been running around the arena for several minutes. But as a team, you all have been on fire this season. And there was a time that you said you might end up with the Lakers or things could have shaken out a little bit differently. But when you went to the Bulls, what were your expectations of what this team could be?
I know we'd be great. I felt like we was going to be able to take some time. We was going to turn around probably around this point. But we first day of training camp, we was locked in, no setbacks. We all was on the same page. And you got to give credit to the coaching staff, putting us in a great position of understanding each other, play calling, everything. And we just jumped out the gate and been balling out.
Even when you all were missing players, when folks were going in and out of COVID protocols, you guys kept afloat. But there were a lot of critics out there, particularly around your fit with Chicago when it was first announced that that's where you were going. And for me personally, I know I say, I'm not going to look at Twitter or whatever the case may be, but I see it. I kind of can't help it, right? So what sort of fuel did maybe proving people wrong add for you?
As a competitor, you always want to beat anybody and anything that they say you can't do. I remember being a kid. When you hear somebody say you can't do something, you want to go out there and do it and prove it wrong. I think that's just a motivational factor that you could use. And, I definitely seen it. My teammates seen it. And we took it personally. We let our game speak for itself. We're not too outspoken. We go out there on the court and we're going to compete with the naysayers and whoever we're playing against.
Has that been a point of bonding for all of you? Because I know that for Lonzo Ball, for Zach LaVine, there have been points in their careers where folks said, well, I don't know if they can, whatever the end of that sentence may be.
Yeah, I think that's what makes our team unique. On down the line, all our guys had that chip on their shoulder, of hearing all that, what you just said, and all these guys deserve every success that we're getting, from Boots to Zoe to Zach, all these guys has been through it, and we at a point now to where we're playing with that chip on our shoulder and we all in it together and it shows.
What do you think the ceiling is for the Bulls this year?
Everything. The ceiling, the goal is championship. We're not going to cut ourselves short. This is an opportunity that we can take advantage of. We don't take it lightly. We understand what's at stakes. We respect all the teams, the top, the conference, everything. But we're going to go out there and compete every single night. We ain't going to cut ourselves short. We feel like we can play with anybody, and the goal is compete for a championship.
You go out and compete every night. The other night, you missed a few free throws in a game against the Magic, and you won. But afterward, you still went out to the court, and you shot another 250 free throws. And to me, that had Kobe mentality written all over it. I know you're superstitious, but can you walk us through that postgame a little bit?
One, I was mad. In the first half, I missed a couple free throws, and the way I ended the game, I missed a couple more free throws. I hate missing free throws. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. I wasn't going to feel comfortable leaving the arena until I got some extra shots up, so I stayed afterwards. Either I was going to go to a practice facility, or I was going to stay at the arena, but I was going to figure out a way to, just get back in the gym and shoot some free throws.
That perfectionism, that going back over things, is that something that permeates through this team as you all are trying to, like you said, win a championship?
Most definitely. Not one guy on this team, not one coach on this team is satisfied with anything. Everybody come in here and work their butt off every single day on any minute thing you can think of, honestly. And that's just the team that we have, the coaching staff that we have. We always consistently trying to find ways to be better, whether we're on a win streak or not. We're figuring out how we could be better the next practice, the next game.
By the way, before we let you go, The first pass of fan all-star voting is in, and you lead all guards in the Eastern Conference. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, and thank the fans.
Yeah, I mean, what would it mean to you to be back in the All-Star game, let alone you're in the MVP conversation this year?
Being in the All-Star game is definitely always an honor, especially when the fans vote you in. It's a beyond humbling. It's an honor that the fans want to see you in there. I'll be ecstatic, man. I can't even put in words. And just being mentioned in MVP conversation, it's all crazy. I try to take it in day by day, share this moment with my teammates. It's crazy. Without them, I wouldn't even be in this position that I'm in. So I got to give all the credit to my teammates. They push me every single day to even get to this point.
Well, you all have certainly been fun to watch this year, and we will be on the lookout because when you guys are down and the ball is in your hands, I don't think anybody is taking you lightly, at least not anymore, DeMar. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Appreciate you.
So DeRozan's Bulls, they hold a game-and-a-half lead over the Nets for the best record in the Eastern Conference. And this is the latest into the season that Chicago has held the conference's top seed since finishing as number 1 in the 2011-2012 season. So we're talking about the Bulls. I'm thrilled to discuss the Bulls with our resident expert, our historian, our OG, Mr. Michael Wilbon. So we just heard DeMar DeRozan say that he feels the ceiling for this team is a championship. Matt Barnes said that on the show earlier this week. But being realistic, the trade deadline is coming up here. What pieces do they still need for that to come to fruition here?
One piece, size. I mean, we've seen the Bulls win a couple of those games. You know why they were behind against Indiana and Washington? Because they were getting beat inside badly, particularly offensive rebounds, giving those up to Indiana and Washington. They need some size. And so people who follow this team fanatically, and I've done that for, a half century, you're looking at the one piece they need, and it's some size. It's somebody who inside can hold his own, particularly defensively. In April, you talk about playoff series against the likes of the Bucks or playing somebody like Clint Capella, you're going to have some size to match that. They seem to have everything else, including the right spirit, this marriage between DeRozan and Zach LaVine, which I heard Malika scouts preseason, it was somewhere between doom and maybe it'll work out okay and they'll get the 7 spot. And now it's a marriage that looks blissful, right? I mean, those two guys, as great as DeRozan has been, and he's been thrust into the spotlight even deeper because of those 2 shots, those 2 buzzer beaters, Zach LaVine has been great.
Not just a volume scorer.
Great.
Right.
That's right. And so the 2 of them together are the stars, the closers, and they have every single piece with healthy around them, even getting a guy like Kobe White back. Caruso's been out for a couple of weeks. They're going to get him back. Vooch, who nobody's talked about. I mean, he could be sort of an all-star backup as a big man, as a center in the East. So they've got that going, and Billy Donovan has been there. He's been in big series. He knows how to bring a team along. They seem to have everything. Now, it still goes through Milwaukee. It still goes the path through the Eastern Conference title, goes through a place 90 miles up the road, a little bit on I-94, and the Nets, as we've chronicled. But the Bulls are go.
Yes, sir.
And you know the Nets are not going to want to be swept in a season series by a Bulls team that they could meet somewhere down the line. But that's the fact that the Bulls are in these discussions.
Right.
And they haven't been a number 1 seed. That was the season following Derrick Rose's MVP year.
Yep.
That's how long ago that's been. So it's sort of startling to those of us who I've been following this team since I was 6 years old.
I know. I hear you on the phone with your son talking about the Bulls, breaking it all down.
He's probably voted for DeMar like 9 times in all-star battling stuff.
Well, clearly it worked.
Put it down, Matthew. But yeah, this is. I don't know if they realize nobody's been there long enough, Malika, to sort of understand how the town turns on its ear when the Bulls are good, and especially when the Bears are bad. So there's a lot going on with that team right now, and it's good to see them being in big games that we're discussing.
Well, and one difference for next Wednesday's game, Kyrie Irving is going to be eligible to play in Chicago, where he is not in New York. And like you mentioned, they're not going to want to get swept. That is going to be a big game. But DeMar DeRozan, my takeaway from that conversation with him, they fear nobody. They have been doubted individually for so many years that as a collective, that has become their identity. Mike Wilbon, thank you so much, my friend, for joining me on NBA Today. It is always a pleasure to chat with you. Tomorrow night's